Welcome back to 233 Experience, the only Ghanaian channel that is made for Ghanaians in Ghana and the ones in the diaspora. Today, I want to talk to you about what I would do differently if I was to relocate to the UK as a freshie and or a new person that would help me settle into the country better and move forward faster. The one thing that I would suggest is that you would learn how to drive in Ghana and get very good driving experience. Having a driver's license in the UK is like having a qualification itself. Most of the jobs and stuff like that would be much easier for you if you have a driver's license. Maybe UK, no. um, I got an international driver's license, and I am so grateful to the white people that I encountered when I came here. I didn't really live amongst Ghanaians, so my white friends, they taught me how to drive straight away, and I bought a car. And because I had my own car and I was driving with a learner's license and the international license and stuff like that, I passed my driving test first time. So it made life much easier for me. It was one of the best things that I ever happened to me because I made me to a bicycle. I bought a bicycle. Make a bicycle one day. I didn't even have the strength to ride the bicycle back home. I took the bus, and then the next day when I went, I sold it to one of my some Spanish girl because I couldn't. It's so draining. By the time I got to work, I was sweaty and all my clothes were wet. So I knew it said it wasn't for me. So the one thing that I would advise is you learn how to drive in Ghana and get a very good driving experience before you come here, so that when you come, the transitioning to driving here is also good. And my advice is when you get here, once you get to know your environment at Caribbean, if you can afford it, buy a car and start learning with that. It will help you settle in much faster. The other thing that I would tell you is when you get here, a lot of people have this perception of trying to find almost like the perfect job to begin with because they want everything is stressful to them. Everything is like when you come here fresh, one thing that people in England want is they want references. They want to be able to do references here in the UK. And if you have a job, UK job that they can reference you, they can go and get references from. It is always much better for them. So when you get here, it is a legitimate business that can give you references and stuff like that. Try and do it. If you can do it, and then get yourself some experience of working here. Get some references. Also get some income, because that would help. Even if you live with your family, you need some income. Even if you live with your family, you need to be able to at least contribute something before you become annoying in the house. So that is something that would also really help. And if I was coming back here, I would do that straight away instead of looking for the perfect job. Another thing that I would always advise people to look into is once you start working, you need to ask yourself which are some of the best banks to save in. And I think I'm going to record a separate video about it. But one thing that I would advise you is look into the banks, look at what they can offer you, and just so that I can give you some tip right here, right now. I know, for example, Nationwide Building Society, for example, they do sometimes give their customers some incentive, like they give money back to their customers if the company makes profit. Recently, they gave back their customers, I think so much will be £100, which might be very useful for you. And also, they are good with mortgages and stuff. So that is something that I would probably record a full video about, because explaining the finances on this in this country is a deep thing. So that is what I would look into. When I came, my dad has been banking with HSBC for years, and being a typical British old man, he thinks that HSBC was the best. So I also opened an account with HSBC, and I've been with them for a good number of years because I didn't know any better. But now that I've looked into it, I've realized that there are other banks that could have offered me something much better packages, better loan deals, better stuff like that than HSBC. So I think you should look into it. And that's one thing that I would advise you to do. When you get into the UK, one of the things that doesn't come up until you spend some time here is when you get here, you have a hustlers mentality, and therefore, even if it is somebody's single room that is in some corner or something like that, even if sometimes the house is not really like in great condition, you'll be fine. You just stay in because all you need is a bed, some space to go and shower, and then somewhere to eat, and then you are gone. You are the guy that you're gone and in and out. You barely sleep at home. So the hustlers mentality is there. Usually, that hustlers mentality is within the first, say, 2 to 3 years of you being here. My advice is that is the time to crank up all the cash and save up as much as possible before you get comfortable, before you get to know the environment, before you start to know how to spend money here and get yourself into a lot of things here. So I, for example, sometimes people ask me, "Oh, and I'm a savvy, but I always think that people who come in the first 5 years, you probably have more disposable cash than the people that have lived here for a long, long time. Also, I think it has something to do with the fact that people back home also don't expect so much from you because Okoyenche, you just been here quite recently, and therefore they would expect less. So that is the time to set up an account somewhere that you don't have a card or anything to, and then start pushing money into that account. Did you know that if you save £250 each month by within 5 years, you would have £15,000? If I was to go back in time and I was to give myself some advice, my advice that I would give myself is that now that I've learned about the system and I've learned about how you need to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others, my advice is don't rush to go and build a house in Ghana so quickly. Find a way, save up, just as I said previously, save up the deposit and buy a house here. Yes, if some land becomes available in Ghana that is at a good place and you want to buy it, then definitely buy it. Buy it, build up a wall around it, do the necessary paperwork, and when you are ready, you can do your whatever you need to do on it. But for now, find some money, save up, and secure yourself here first. Buy a house here and buy yourself a decent car so that you can go up and down without any hassle. One thing that I would also probably do very, very differently is to learn to eat well as soon as I got here. You probably like learn to eat well, eat healthy stuff like fruits and stuff like that. And also, even not just eat well, you need to like research into the supplements that you are lacking, especially like vitamin D tablets, and that will be good for you because if you've noticed, if you don't have good, really good, hard African hair, your hair is going to recede and you're going to have like proper, really bad patches and stuff like that. That is something you need to look into because it is a lack of vitamin D and other vitamins that we need in our system is what causes this. So you probably need to look into that and find out what you're lacking. You can go to the GP, they can do some tests for you and find out and tell you what they think you should take. And then based on that, you can go to places like Holland and Barrett's and buy some, and then you will know what would be good for you. A lot of the time, the UK employment market is not qualifications focused, but also it needs some form of qualifications. If you come here, my advice is look for something that you can do long term that would be sufficient for you to take care of yourself, your family, and also would offer you freedom. When I say freedom, I basically mean to be able to travel in and out of the country without worrying about constant stuff like that. You don't always have to follow the traditional trend of going to become a nurse or an engineer in this country or become a lawyer. There are other things that you can easily do in this country. There are things like you can go and work on yourself to become a train driver. You could easily go and do a course and also become a driving instructor. You can become a trainer where you go around to businesses and go and train other people. There are so many things in this country that you could easily do, and it will offer you freedom, it will offer you flexibility. Or I would say if you have a chosen field that you wanted to, maybe you went to school about it in Ghana and now you want to do it here, instead of going to start all over to go and do something totally different, you could probably just do a course about that, right here, right now, and then start working your way forward into that environment. And when somebody offers you a job into the entry level, even if it means you're going to make less, you take it. You take it and then you get your foot into the door. When I came here, I worked in a school, and then by pure chance, I ended up working as a customer service rep for an insurance company. And then through that, my manager helped me to go and get a job that like is linked to my qualification from Ghana, which is human resources. And at the same point in time, when I got there, I had already done my research to know that in this country, people do something called CIPD. The CIPD, I looked into it and I realized that because I had a degree from Ghana, I was qualified to do level 7, and I had already started doing the level 7. And that helped me get a job in the HR field. That is something that would has helped me a lot to basically maneuver my way up the ladder without having to do the whole manual wala to wala side job. If you've enjoyed it and stuff like that, and you want to know more, I'm more than happy for you to reach out to me. Follow me on all platforms as 233 Experience. Drop me a question in the comments. Drop me an email, a text, or on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, and I'll happily answer them for you. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope you've learned something from it, and hopefully subscribe and share it with other people as well. Thank you for watching. My name is Kenny Lambert, and I'll speak to you soon.